Hello everyone, Bob here, and welcome to the Voice of the Movies. The album that I chose this week, I chose because the first track on side A of it is actually a track that was featured in my wedding, and this past week was my first wedding anniversary. So that's kind of has a little bit of a sentimental piece to me. So the album I chose is on Her Majesty's Secret Service, and like I say, I know normally I try not to do the same movie and music at the same time, but because of the anniversary thing, I couldn't help myself. This is not the original pressing of this. This is the 2015 pressing. But there's the front cover. Has the track listing, and yes, the track that we used was We Have All the Time in the World by Louis Armstrong. And over here it gives side 2. It gives the information about the film there. Sorry about the glare. Scroll down, it's got some information about the composer, John Barry, a legendary film composer in my opinion. And across the bottom, in addition to the copyright stuff and all that down there, has stills from the movie. And then up there is some artwork. So the track We Have All the Time in the World, it's a slow love song. If you've heard any other song by Louis Armstrong, you kind of know what the sound of it is. And it's just a slow song talking about how there's this young couple that's in love, and they basically have all the time in the world for their relationship to grow. Well, the reason, I mean, you obviously, knowing that it was played at my wedding, I liked it. Of course, being a Bond song didn't hurt anything, in my opinion. And my wife had actually never heard it until until we were going out, and I played it for her one time, and it was actually one of the first few songs I played on my record player for her. And she was on board with it, and we both thought that was an appropriate song. A, because it was one of the first songs that we played, and B, because it's a good song. It's just a nice, slow Louis Armstrong song. It has a trumpet solo in it. There was a car commercial a few years back that used it. I know Dad had a greatest hits compilation of Louis Armstrong's at one point in time, and he just thought that was a Louis Armstrong song. He hadn't seen this particular Bond movie, and he didn't know until we were watching the movie one time on TV that was even anything James Bond related. So odds are some of you guys have probably heard the song if you're unfamiliar with the movie, and just heard it and just assumed it was another Louis Armstrong song. This Never Happened to the Other Fella is an action-y piece. It accompanies from the start of the movie up to the main title sequence. Starts out, of course, with the Bond theme that we all know and love, and then it's just basically the fight. It's fight music, basically, as Bond fights and defends the honor of the girl in the movie, who we eventually find out is Tracy, and she's played by Diana Rigg. But it's a very action-y piece. Typical fight music, I guess, is the best way to put it. The track after that, called Try, is a very slow kind of jazzy type music, like what you kind of picture them playing in little fancier restaurants maybe back in the 70s. It's a slow and it's a very jazz piece. The next song is called Ski Chase, and this one is very similar to the main title, and it uses the same bass line, I guess you'd put it. We'll wait and talk about this one until we get over track 1 on side 2. They're rounding out side A is a song called "Do You Know How Christmas Trees Are Grown," and it's a slow, just a kind of a slow little melody. In the film, it's played in the background during a couple times when Bond's up in the snow, but before he goes up to Blofeld's base. It's just a nice, slow, I hate to say 60s melody, but that's what it is. It's just a nice, slow melody that, it's not bad, but it isn't anything particularly memorable either. Side 2 of the record, the first track is the song that appears in the main title, and it's just called "On Her Majesty's Secret Service." And if you've seen this film, you know there are no words to this song. It's just an instrumental. It is the first one since, it is the first instrumental to open a Bond movie since From Russia with Love. And John Barry thought that the only way to do vocals to this song was to have an operatic sound to it, but the director decided to go back to the tradition of the first 2 films and just have an instrumental piece. And it is a very action-y piece. It's fun, it's fast. The main bass line in this track is performed by I think it's called a Moog synthesizer. It has a very distinct sound, and it is used throughout this movie. This theme is basically the main action theme, and it very much becomes interchangeable with the James Bond theme that Monty Norman wrote that we're all familiar with. And it's used throughout, and it's incorporated in and during a lot of the ski chases. And at the end, there's a battle at Blofeld's thing, and it's used in that, only it's sped up to give it more of a sense of urgency, I guess. But it is a very effective main title. Journey to Blofeld's hideaway. In the film, this plays when Bond is on the helicopter and he's posing as someone else, and they're going up to Blofeld's hideaway, and there's a lot of establishing shots, and this track does a wonderful job of capturing the grand nature of the mountains that the hideaway's in, and it's just a nice, slow instrumental piece, and it's done well. There's another track on this one called "We Have All the Time in the World," and that is just an instrumental version of the Louis Armstrong song. There's a song called "Over and Out" that is, it plays right before when Tracy's father and Bond are going in on a rescue mission, and it plays to kind of build the anticipation of the battle that's to come. It's slow, but it's building, and it does its job well. Battle of Pitt's Gloria is the battle that there at the end at Blofeld's hideout, and of course it features the sped up On Her Majesty's Secret Service track. And the last track on this, track 6, it features that "We Have All the Time in the World" song, but it's played so mournfully. If you've seen the movie, you know why. It's a mournful rendition of the song that's been happy. It's been happy the whole movie, but at this instance, it's played so mournfully, and then that transitions into the regular James Bond theme, which we all know and love. The soundtrack to "On Her Majesty's Secret Service," even if you ignore the fact that I used the Louis Armstrong song for my wedding, just the instrumental parts alone, it's one of the best film scores in the Bond franchise, and that's saying something, because the Bond franchise, if nothing else, has amazing music in it, and it's among the best easily, and so by extension, I fully recommend this album. If whether you get the LP version or the CD, which actually has more tracks on it, that's up to you. being a vinyl collector, I like the vinyl record, and like I said, playing that for my who's the lady who's now my wife for the first time. That's why I chose to review that particular one today. But if you're a film music fan, I recommend it full-heartedly. It's definitely one of the best action music scores from the 60s, and especially the late 60s. So pick it up, give it a shot. If you're like me, you'll start humming that main bass line. Anyway, that's all I've got for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Please consider subscribing to my channel. I try to have new content up daily. Doesn't always work that way, but that is my ultimate goal. Follow me on Facebook or Twitter to search for Bob the Film Guy. And for now, this is Bob, signing off.